Welcome to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. We're pushing to 7,000 subscribers. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button and thank you for all the support. Today we have my boy Kay back on the show. Kay, before we begin, just let the people know what you guys do on YouTube, or maybe they can follow some of your takes on Twitter.
Yeah, man. Like you said, just call me K. Like I said, you can see it right up under me here. Just follow me on X at K underscore set underscore K QUE. You know what I mean? You know how they go. Part of the Heat versus the World Network. Been a little inactive as people, things have been a little bit down over there with the big boss. Feeling the effects of the Jimmy Butler trade. He trying to shake back. It really caught him at a downtime. Not only in his sports life, but in his real life. So the way the storm hit just kind of left us a little inactive, left us a little shook up, left us a little in shambles. We was kind of segmented as a group to get, to pull the veil back and give you insight on what we were feeling over there. But that's just the nature of the beast. It kind of, pulls into the way that the season went. Like I said, man, this ain't a game. This real life for some of us. But I said that to say we getting back active. We actually just started back trying to call ourselves consistent and putting out content. So keep an eye on us. Heat versus the World podcast. Joel K. Jacob, that's the leader of the network over there. Again, follow us and check us out, man. We just try to be fun and be honest, but at the same time, be logical.
So as as we all know, the Miami Heat, they got swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. What did you think about that overall series? Because my biggest thing is I thought especially guys like Wiggins and Bam would step up and really shine in that series, because I thought we had the best small forward and we had the best power forward in that series, but obviously it did not go that way. So what did you think about the series versus the Cavs?
I mean, I was blown away. Honestly, by the last two games, as the Heat were blown away. No pun intended. But at the same time, I'm gonna touch on something you kind of like touched on the broach the topic. You mentioned Andrew Wiggins. I've never found, like, a lot of people say things like cliche, especially like in the world we live in on social media, X and stuff like that. Like you see a lot of phantasmic takes, like people are purposely trying to draw reaction. So if somebody's saying my shoe untied, they really, on X, they'll be like, my shoe's coming off my foot. Or, if you have a little fender bender on X, they'll be like, man, I totaled my car. So, it's always a level 10 on whatever's being said on X. And I said that to say, you've seen a lot of times where you'll see, a player make a mistake or a player do something stupid, and a person be like, this person is not interested in basketball. This person does not want to play basketball. And it's cliche, it's tongue in cheek. That person did some dumb, boneheaded play. I look at Andrew Wiggins play basketball in these playoffs, and I seriously question if bro still wants to play basketball. And that's a problem, because he's been wildly inconsistent throughout his career at times. Let's not get it twisted. And for all his talent, he should have been a better player because he's too talented, too athletically gifted, just capable of doing too much stuff. But that's always been the book on him, I guess, at Kansas. Do he want it enough? Do he know how good he is? Do he want to be as good as he can be? And right now, it appears that is translated into a lack of interest in basketball. And I can't say that with 100% certainty, but I can't also discredit what I think my eyes are seeing. And just like sometimes you be looking at bro like, nah, like it'll be a rebound, or like it'll be a play where you just got to make an extra effort, or he'll get beat on defense. And you like, huh? Like I could have stayed in front of bro for like a second longer. Like, I ain't gonna say I wouldn't have drew a foul either, but I could have stayed in front of him a second longer than Andrew Wiggins just did there. So he should have been able to stay in front of him 2 or 3 seconds longer than he did. You feel what I'm saying? That's the first thing. I felt like we were let down in that aspect. Led on almost, because like I said, he had those, he was out a lot too. So maybe we weren't led on. Maybe, again, the Heat culture tinted glasses, which is giving some of the trolls out there food for their fodder. But at the same time, he had some good showings when he did get on the court. That 2-game stretch where he scored like 70, 80 points. Like, it's like when he was consistent and when he was on, he showed you that he could play. So, again, you're like, how you go from that to that? It's just like you got to be uninterested. Bam, I mean, I think people have alluded to it. A lot of the big timers in the media game in the NBA world have alluded to it over the last couple of days. But I think we're annoyed as Heat fans or inside this thing because this is not something that we didn't always know. We've always known that Bam isn't offensively assertive. I'm gonna let you
But
get this
Kate,
off. Go
that
ahead.
is my biggest thing. We don't need Bam to score 30 and 15 or
Right.
anything crazy like that. He has all the tools. His three-point shot is developing and it's going to get better. The mid-range is already on lock. I think he doesn't get to the free throw line enough as a power forward who is 6'8", 250, strong. He has all the different like intangibles. My biggest thing about Bam is the aggression being out there. Now, I will say part of it is Eric Spoelstra's fault because they're not structuring the offense where he's being a focal point. They're using him to get to other guys. What I mean by that is setting screens, the dribble handoff. But if you're telling me going forward that Bam Adebayo is the captain of the team, the leader of the team, one of the best players, he needs to be aggressive and they need to be playing through him going forward.
To your point, man, there's a lot of things in play here. And what people have to do is realize. All right, I'm gonna try to give it to you as concisely as I can. The first thing is, let's go back to what I said. Naturally, in the sense traditionally of what we think naturally in the NBA, he's never going to be an explosive scorer. Like an explosive scorer, by the time they're 22, 23 years old, we're like, okay, that dude's a scorer. Bam, by function of how his game has evolved, how he's been developed, for better or worse, what his game is, and the makeup of his teams, it's just, and this is not giving him an excuse. Again, that's what I mean when I say we try to be logical over there. I'm literally trying to say what I see. It's just happened late. It's just happened late. Bam's key thing now, you start to see this towards the end of the season, is Bam doesn't have a coordinated attack and gather move, which translates to his lack of ability to get to the free throw line that you're speaking about. Bam in transition or Bam in the triple threat. You're thinking to yourself, okay, there are those rare moments where you can straight line where the move is easy, dribble, go up. But then there are those moments where you got to dribble, and you're at an angle and you need a sophisticated gather move to get your position or get your feet in a place to be able to explode up and use that supreme athleticism. And that's what Bam doesn't have. It's that last 1-2. And that's what you see Riz Ugly Head in transition. And that's what you see Riz Ugly Head in those half-court moments where it's him, a dude in front of him that he can take all day long, and the rim. And you like go dunk on his head. Well, the problem is he can do everything except that last 1-2. And he know that. And that last 1-2 is just the coordination or the intentionality in the offseason to develop a couple of gathers. I mean, that's really all it is. So, and again, that's why I say it's time. That's the first thing. I've been mentioning that for 2 years because you can just see it. That's the first thing. That's really the only thing. Honestly, when you mention the jump shot, the ability to step back and hit the three now, the passing ability, the handling ability, the vision, like the explosiveness, the athleticism, the ability to finish around the rim, that's literally the only thing missing from the game is that 1-2 gather at the rim so he can be explosive. And naturally, it comes so naturally for other guys because they've been doing it since they were 15, 16. Well, Bam hasn't been empowered to be a guy that you're consistently allowing or wanting to do that until about 3 or 4 years ago. So again, that speaks to that lateness. So in the traditional sense, he isn't going to be that guy, but he's capable. And I think that's one of the things that separate him. Now, you also have a camp of people that say we have to accept Bam for what he is. And he's, well, yeah and no, because that don't mean you still can't ask a brother to get better. Because to your point, there are so many other things that he does to help your team win. But you still can get better in that facet. Like if that's a clear way to improve, we expect you to do that and then let the chips fall where they may. But to the point of it all, we saw Bam blossoming and becoming a more well-rounded offensive player as the season progressed. And what's happened is, again, to the overarching point of what I said, it's just been late. Most dudes that we consider to be stars or offensive, all stars, whatever, they find it. Offensively, especially because that's the one that people focus on. That's the sexy side. Bam has made his living off defense and the other stuff. They find it by like 23, 24. It's just taking Bam to he's like 28, 29, 30.
They've done him a huge disservice by bad roster construction. They haven't been able really to give him a playmaker outside of Kyle Lowry that's really trying to make him, or force him to be involved. So I will give him a slight credit. But once again, think about it. When you're set up to make $200 million as a max player, there's really no excuse for you not being aggressive on that offensive end because we cook Tyler all the time for the whole defensive problems. Even though he's making 30 mil per season, we destroy him because he's terrible defensively. And I just think I'm not saying that you have to destroy Bam because Bam does a lot more than just, the offensive stuff. He does a lot of stuff that doesn't turn up in the stat sheet. But at the same time, as a max player, you're going to need him to step up, especially when you're trying to build a team around Tyler and Bam, which kind of transitions into the next topic. What do you think about this Miami Heat team? People are calling Pat Riley washed. He needs to step down. Even Eric Spoelstra, possibly. They're saying that we either need to rebuild or retool. Would you want to trade Bam or trade Tyler or keep both and then try to build around or trade one of them? Like, where do you stand right now with this Miami Heat team going forward?
Look, don't let me forget that because I got a quick answer for that. But let me close real quick on the last thing. You said something right there. I don't firmly disagree with the point guard thing, but I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that fixes it either because, and it's inverse things. One of those things is which come first, the chicken or the egg. The reason we expect so much from Bam offensively, aggression wise, is because we know how good he is. We've seen everything that he can do. Would Bam have gotten this far individually had he played beside a point guard, which on one side would have enhanced his ability to do the things directly that we need you to do, but it would have sort of crippled him and handcuffed him as far as a development from you being the hub. The reason that you are capable of being the hub is because you've had to learn through the fire for 3 or 4 years. So it's a chicken. I'm not saying which one is better. I'm just asking the questions. So in the long run, we're going to say, okay, was developing him to be that guy early on and then possibly bringing in a guy better than handcuffing him and then forcing him to figure it out later, which is typically harder to have to change your stripes. So that I would say that. Now, to that part, when you mentioned the natural aggression, again, we agree. That's the thing we know. That's why I don't shock us. That's why, okay, we know that. The boy ain't assertive. Offensively assertive. Again, a guy like Tyler, since he was 14, 13, when they rolled a rock out there and put the rock in his hand, he knew his job was to put that thing in the hole. Go get buckets. From 13 to probably 23, Bam's job was to defend, set picks, and run to the rim. And again, he should know it's 5-6 years you're in the NBA, people in your head, but it's just starting to click. And I think we just had to give it a little more time and patience. Okay, to your next question. Where do I see this organization going? Hey man, I got a quick answer for that. I just had this conversation, this exchange with somebody on social, which is probably what I don't know if that exchange is actually what inspired you to get with me on this occasion. But to that point, I don't believe in bottoming out, man. I don't believe in sucking. And that's what I admire so much about the Miami Heat. And it's the same thing that other people hate. But here's my thing. Bottoming out only guarantees one thing. It guarantees that you're going to suck for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or longer years than that. But it don't guarantee that you're going to win a title. I much rather prefer that my Miami Heat continue and try and compete and take the swings that they take in the manner that which they do, as opposed to bottoming out and being Phil Presti's Oklahoma City Thunder before they lucked into this core, which still got to prove to me they could win a title until you wind up being the process 76ers. Oh, by the way, Joel Embiid probably not going to be there. Ben Simmons stinking it up in LA right now. And I mean, where's Maury again? Anyway, probably about to be an unemployment. Nevertheless, the Raptors. I can name the Nets. I can name the Utah Jazz. I can name teams that bottom out and think they're going to fix it. Wemby with the Spurs. Shout out to Pop, by the way. Salute that man. One of the greats ever to do it. But Wemby with the Spurs, but they got to show you that they could be more than the 13th best team in the Western Conference, too. All I'm saying is bottoming out never guarantees you anything but at least a year or two of misery. So I'm glad that the Miami Heat try to do it while not sucking on purpose and totally sucking. And that's what I see when early this year, and I use my personal conversations and experiences as like the general masses because I know this is how it happened. I don't mean to sound pompous or egotistical, but I see it. So it's just what it is. the question's probably buzzing around with the same questions I was getting from a lot of my homies, a lot of my Heat people. Well, who's going to be out there? Who's going to be out there? What do they build? Who's going to be out? And now that people out there, they're like, what assets? What assets? What assets? It's like, well, you ain't believe people was going to be out there 3-4 months ago, and now you discounting their ways of going to do it. Just sit back and continue to allow yourself to ponder and be erroneous in your ways, because so often and more often than not, they didn't get to the mountaintop. But who would have saw the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler going to the final and having a success they did? I don't care what you call, like, if they didn't get a ring, they won't sell. Okay, there is a certain level of truth to that, but they still was successful in the Jimmy Butler tenure. I don't care what nobody said. And there's a last point I want to get to that, because I'm a little bit rambling, but I hope I'm answering your questions. Pete, I'm not with that sell your soul to get one mentality. I don't believe in selling your soul to get one. And in Miami, and people can say what they want.
Like Giannis, Kevin Durant, is that what
I'm getting there, baby? I'm getting there. Let me get there.
There's going to be a lot of stars on the move potentially. Ja, but you already know his, because the thing is, think about it, Memphis
wouldn't move the farm to do it. Too banged up. Can't count on to be healthy.
Because Memphis, they're not going to pay Ja, Triple J, and Baines $200 million. I think they're going to trade Baines. Ja can't put down the gun, but that's a whole other conversation.
I think they're going
to Zion could potentially be on the
Bane
move.
And Triple G because Ja too volatile. But go ahead.
Zion could potentially be on the move, but he can't put down the gumbo or the oxtail pizza. So it's like,
can't count on him.
We don't know. Giannis, I think even if he does leave, the Miami Heat don't have a shot because all these other teams are going to outbid us. Kevin Durant,
unless Giannis say Miami, but go ahead.
Potentially. We have Kevin Durant, which is a 50-50 because of his age, and then you don't want to overpay. You don't want to give up Khalil Ware. So there's a lot of – so if you're able to add a realistic star, or I think at this point, if you can't get a main star to put with Tyler and Bam, you just got to put around them high-level role players, scorers, perimeter defenders, guys that are athletic, another big, guys like Davion Mitchell, you know what I'm saying, that help elevate this team.
I can be quick with this one, man. And I know I've lied in the past 2 answers, but I can really be quick with this one. Look, KD is my bottom level one. I think KD, we can be in on KD and get KD at the end of the day, because Phoenix in a position where they know they're not going to be good next year. If they sneak into the play-in next year, trying to make moves for the next year, hooray! It's a party over there if they can sneak into the play-in conversation. But they know already that they're trying to clear the books and financially get themselves together, not for next season, but the following season. So while they're going to try to get something for KD, they ain't trying to get Golden State KD package for KD. So KD is going to be the bottom of what I think can be had. And I think you could do that with not all of your first-round picks. You don't even have to give up Tyler or Kellel to get it done, in my mind, and you don't. But I think KD is the bottom of your wish list. And if that's a move that's out there, if you strike out on everything else, I think you absolutely try that for the Miami Heat, because right now what the Miami Heat are missing directly what it looked like, and they might need more, but directly the first thing that they needed was an alpha, somebody they could throw the rock to and be like, calm the ball game down, or draw a double team so then Bam can go to work and kill his single matchup. They can't double him in his area. So then Tyler can go to work and kill his single matchup. They can't double him as soon as he cross half court. That would be the bottom level. But again, back to the guys that people thought never were going to be out. Like you said, you got a guy who might be on a move. I wouldn't give up the farm from him. I would go get Ja if it made sense and he became available. I wouldn't overexert myself to get Ja, because you can't count on him from game to game. Every time he drives the cup, it makes me nervous. Zion, I mean, he ain't played but like 20 games in 6 seasons. So that's another thing. It's like, yeah, Zion still got mad potential. And you would give a little more to get Zion at this point than you would give for Ja, in my mind. But at the same time, it's still in a crazy package because, again, you can't count on Zion. So those are still delicate issues that I'm sure the Miami Heat would explore. And if the package is right, yeah, you take a swing, because this is the type of stuff that Pat Riley and the Miami Heat have traditionally done to get it done. And these are the type of moves that we tend to hit on as a franchise. But then when you look at, like you said, a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he names the Miami Heat, then that's the package that you're willing to send Kellel Ware out for. If you could do that, if you're the Miami Heat, in my mind, you want to keep Nico, of course, Davion Stan, and you try to keep Bam, and you keep Bam. But everything not named Bam, Nico, or Davion can go. And if you got to throw Nico in there to get it done, so be it. That's what you do. But, I mean, you know what I mean? You try. I throw something else out there at you. I saw the little TMZ video, and I'm gonna just put it out there. I don't know if it's a etched video. I don't know if it's somebody just throwing something up there. But I think I saw a video where they say Luka, JJ Redick, and the GM had dinner last night at LA. So if that's true, they probably were all kumbaya trying to, you know, figure out what their next move is. But who's to say Luka gonna sign that deal? You see what I'm saying? And I don't personally love Luka's game, especially Luka from 3-4 years ago. I don't know if I want this version of Luka in the Miami Heat uniform, though. Just saying. But I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. There are gonna be guys out there. There's gonna be mechanisms to try to do something, to get something done. And I expect the Miami Heat to do that. And like you said, at the end of the day, if they strike out on all of the big players, hey man, just go bring in a couple of high-level role players. Let's roll the ball out and see what we can do from there. Play it to the trade deadline, baby.
There you go. So once again, Kay, thank you so much for coming on the show. Please just let the people know where they can find you again.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, you can check out the network on X at Heat versus the World podcast. That's HVTW podcast. At X, you can follow me on X individually again at K_said_K. That's QUE. K_said_QUE. And yeah, man, we just out here making takes, talking, you know what I mean, doing what we do, man. I appreciate you for having me.
There you go, guys. Make sure that you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, and thank you for all the support.